What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to A Certain Point of View and a special Monday edition of POV. We are here. We are just a couple days away from the official start of Season 8 of the movie trivia Schmoedown. And we're going to be talking about it tonight. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Obviously, a lot of matches came out as far as announcements. And we obviously have a big pay-per-view that is debuting Season 8 on Friday that we'll be discussing as well. But before we get to all that, we're back. It's a day that we usually don't shoot live videos on. How's everybody doing on this Monday?
3-day weekend.
Oh yeah, today was the holiday. I forgot.
Well, for some people, I actually had to work today, unfortunately. So.
I did not.
Yeah.
Can I just say that
me,
new
so.
promo is fire?
Yeah. Yes.
It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good thing to point out. David B, you're a god. Thank you so much for the POV theme. So cool. Yeah, we threw together a nice little intro there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know it's about a minute long, about 45 seconds longer than typical, but you know what? We enjoy time together and we enjoy those flashbacks. So, stay with it.
I miss my onesie, my Baby Yoda onesie.
I do
wear
too.
it more.
So it's funny. I was actually thinking about switching because some of them stay on longer than others, and right after that one ends that I clipped it, you actually open up your face. And I was thinking about moving it to the end. That way we can see the long version of it. But I didn't do it this time, so I just didn't have time.
I just like the waving. Just
Hello.
And then the Jill one too, where you're doing the different faces, is pretty good too.
I have my finger wag.
Brian, how you doing, man? How was your weekend?
All over the place. Although I got a bunch of packages today, which a couple of them were surprises. So as you can tell, my collection has grown.
Oh, you got your Clone Wars.
Oh yeah.
Molly, you already got yours, so there's nothing exciting to you.
I haven't put them up yet.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying not to go crazy. That's really what it is, because we decide, apparently our buildings decided that we're going to put construction everywhere and it's going to last all day long. And it's literally, and then my people above me are driving me crazy. I'm just going crazy. So bringing it back in, rolling it back in.
Are you on the Hot Mess Express?
I'm the conductor of the Hot Mess Express.
Choo-choo.
Yeah. So yes. I'm curious to see how it's going to work tomorrow when I'm trying to teach children and their construction. Yeah. So
I don't remember that.
The reason why I didn't include any guest ones in there is because there might be a special one that comes out later with all of our guests. So I wanted to keep it simply to us because it is the channel's intro now. So it's just that one will definitely be in there because I do remember that very clearly when that happened. All right, well, before we get to anything, I do want to read off a couple Streamlabs that came over the past couple days since we haven't really been going live. We have two of them. One of them came from Almog, and he had said, this one is for Tobias, the red-tailed hawk. And so that was just a couple days ago. And then this one was from Teresa Sky, and she had said, hi, beautiful people. I am from Central Europe and have no knowledge about how fantasy drafts work or ordinary drafts, so I have a question. Let's say you draft Oyama and someone else picks Lawn. Who gets points in final exam wins a match in the Schmoedown? We
decided it's half, right?
Yeah, so the gentleman who created Manager of the Year had said that it splits the points. And so, for example, say that a win is 1 point, half a point goes to one person, half a point goes to the other. And that's how it works. If we had created our own point system, it might have been different. But the point system for Manager of the Year is actually already in the system. It does it for us. And it's how the actual Schmoedown works outside of stuff like that. That's an edit, of course, because teams can be split through the draft process. So hopefully everyone enjoyed that because that was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
That was an absolute blast. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
Molly, did you read the Animorphs books? Like a lot of them?
I read a lot of them. I did not read all of them. I didn't finish the series because I feel like it started to get really wacky and I just kind of moved on. But I think the first 10 to 15 books I read, which is a lot of books.
I think I read 5 of them. I can visually still see the covers.
Did you
Oh,
see
me
the?
too.
Did you watch the movie though?
No.
That's the one.
I watched the Animorphs movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
there
got
was
the-
one.
that's what I know it by.
The Acolyte, is that what the blue guys are called? I don't even remember now, but it was like a Nickelodeon movie, and I had it
Oh,
on VHS.
was the
Hey.
VHS orange?
You know, I think it was because I
Okay,
think
don't
That
laugh.
makes
It's a
sense.
thing.
No,
All
it
the
is. Yeah,
Nickelodeon
it is.
VHSs were orange.
I think
I'm
all
not-
the Nickelodeon stuff was orange.
Damn, guys.
Yeah. It was.
Jesus.
Don't fight me on my orange VHS.
I'm pretty sure. I think all my Rugrats ones were
Yeah,
orange.
like all the
So-
Nicktoons were orange VHSs. Anyway, another POV random.
Well, now I'm trying to find the actual videotape, and I can't find the actual videotape. It's just the cover.
I'm saying hi to Robert Parker in the chat. Hi, Robert
Hi,
Parker.
Robert Parker.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
so before we get to any kind of discussion this morning, I do want to bring up a super chat that we got from Mr. Tim Sim. Kind of relates to what we're getting to. Can we talk about how Laura Kelly has her own Twitter emote, sharing one with the LA
Gorillas.
Gorillas?
Oh
Is
yeah,
that
so
Gorillas?
Yeah,
I
it
mean-
just looks.
It's gorillas. It's like gorilla
from the
warfare.
Call of Duty League.
she did
is that
hashtag
what it
lights
is?
out, and it's
Thank you, Tim. By the way, thank you.
It's the LA Gorillas. I don't know what it's from,
They
but
might have
it
just spelt it differently, like
just-
guerrilla warfare, I guess.
Yeah.
It looks just like a person in a cape with no face and just some eyes.
So
well,
it's
it looks like
perfect.
Spider Gwen, kind
It
of.
does look like
that's what I
Spider
thought
Gwen.
That's what I thought it was.
Let
at
me.
first.
I need to take a closer look at this.
And I was like, hold on, Laura gets her own emote and I don't. What the heck?
Wait a second.
But I think it was just a coincidence.
And I don't know if you would like this email, but when you had the great hashtag of I am the Maverick, it should just be a Maverick's helmet from Top Gun.
Oh, see, now I was thinking a pair of aviators.
No, it should be the helmet. Because
I
the helmet's
mean,
iconic with the red and blue stripes.
For Schmoedown
No.
heel, a pair of aviators is pretty on point.
Yeah, I need to.
How many people wear
get some of
sunglasses? How many
those.
people wear them?
I can't, so not me.
It messes up my makeup, so I don't wear them. But I would get a pair just to film promos in.
That's fair.
We quickly just got another Streamlabs, and this one's from Mr. Ferris Muthana, and he simply says, "Hello."
Hi, Fair. Hi,
Hi,
Ferris.
Thank you, Ferris, for that. Much appreciated.
Oh,
As Christina
someone's
here says, not enough stars playing this weekend, but I'm rooting for you, Molly. There you go. All right, that's a good segue into what we're going to be getting into. Let's talk about this because we're going to start off with talking pay-per-view here, and I'll bring this up. The undercard, even though it's really a double main event, the undercard
Pretty much.
is we have Laura Kelly versus our Molly Damon here on POV. And then it's followed up by Chandru Dhanapani versus Mara Kanopik for the IG title, which is massive, obviously. Well, we're not going to spend too much time on the undercard, obviously, because we're all biased. I mean, let's be clear. But I do want to ask, Molly, how are you feeling going into Friday? Are you excited? I mean, you're playing Laura for the very first time. It's obviously a very hyped up match,
Mhm.
something that's a lot of people have been wanting. How are you feeling?
Every Schmoedown I do, I feel better and better. So I'm feeling pretty good. Loving the dungeon so far. Shout out to Parker, who texts me random trivia. But yeah, I'm feeling really good. Like I said, the more I play, the better I get, the more confident I get. So I just want to play this game like as much as possible.
So
And yeah,
Stoked.
I'm gonna get that belt, man. I'm gonna
It's
get
gonna
it.
be
Yeah.
it's gonna be so weird because we always watch pay-per-views together, so it's gonna be so weird with just like me, Brian, Jake, and then Sean, obviously, while you're not there, but we're like watching you. Like it's gonna be really trippy.
And then she's gonna pop in. We're all gonna lose it and pop champagne everywhere.
True.
Take it.
Yeah.
I will say I was very happy.
Spray the
because-
screens and all our cameras go dead.
Yes.
Dear- Sure, I'll spray my microphone.
Yes.
Yeah, excuse me, my microphone. Don't even.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
It's worth it, guys. It's worth it for the content.
I will
That
say.
can be added to the intro real quick if that happens.
I will say I was quite pleased with Skybound's delivery service because I'm ready for Friday as well.
I'm hoping mine comes before Friday. I got a dungeon T-shirt as well. I'm hoping it comes before Friday.
As long as my corruption hoodie comes before March 4th, I'm golden.
I got my. I mean, I got my other one too. But
but right now, it's all about the dungeon.
But right now, yes, it's all about Molly and the dungeon.
I mean, the dungeon is the best faction, just hands down. They're the best.
Ooh, a lot of our members here are. Ooh,
We
Leo.
have a lot of
Coming in hot.
swagaholics in here.
We got the swag.
I'm interested in what Chuck's gonna say because Chuck is.
He just said it right there.
Oh, I missed it.
The only drip you're going to hear is the tears on the floor.
Oh,
Oh, that was good.
Tears.
Oh, that got me. That was a good one.
fire. Straight fire. Love it.
All right, well let's move on from the undercard and talk about the second big one of the night, and that is the IG title match. We were supposed to get an IG title match to begin the year last year. Unfortunately, due to circumstances that with Mara just wasn't able to happen, and now she comes back a year later and it's happening. She's kicking off season 8 and going up against Chandru Dandapani for a brand new faction. She is for the dungeon as well. It's a swag versus dungeon night, which is crazy.
Oh my god, it just literally hit my brain.
Laura doesn't feel like a swag member, obviously.
Swag versus dungeon
Yeah,
for both matches. I don't know why it's still not in my brain that Mara is in the dungeon.
Because she's evil. Oh, Mara? Oh, I was
Mara.
thinking
No,
Mara.
I know. Obviously, I know Molly's. It still hasn't because Molly will always say "Oh, Mara, Mara's great," and then it hasn't clicked in my brain. So I literally just now realized it is swag versus dungeon for both of these matches.
Yeah, so
Wow.
we have Winston versus Kaiser, a back-to-back match, and kicking off season 8. Let's talk about it a little bit and maybe throw our predictions out there. And it's the first time we're seeing Mara in a very long time. She seems extremely ready, but Chandru has proven himself the last couple matches, and he obviously defended the belt very strongly at Spectacular. And right now he's the defending champion, who a lot of people think that he could defend the belt for a very long time. And we don't know what Mara Knopic we're going to get because we haven't seen her in so long. It's a different kind of game, but has that time away strengthened her even more so than she was before? Jill, what do you think?
I think so. I think a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, ring rust is going to get her." I don't think that's going to exist with Mara because she even when she was competing a year ago, she never had a bad match. Any of her matches, she was phenomenal in every single one of her matches. And I think just this time away, I can only imagine she's just been studying, knowing that she is going to be coming back. If anything, I think this time away helped more than hurt her. So I am very excited to see just how well she's going to do in her big, huge comeback for this title shot that she's taken. And I can't wait to see the audience reaction with how much ass she's going to kick this season. Because I think there's going to be a lot of that coming from Mara.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And Mara was when she was playing, she was probably my favorite player to watch.
She was mine. Hands down.
The way that she approached the game was very different from a lot of players that were currently playing at that time. And she wasn't a character. She obviously had a nickname and stuff, but she was very much herself on camera.
Her and Cushing were
yeah, and I'm extremely interested to see how she is now on camera. Is it kind of portrayed as a redemption tour / revenge tour, or is she coming in as the Brown Dwarf star and going to just be herself up against someone like Chandru, who is very much a heel in the league? Is it going to be that heel versus hero type of feel, or is it going to be a heel versus I'm a hero most of the time, but if you antagonize me or push me, I'm going to kind of come after you a little bit? Will she have that little bite? But I do agree that I think she's going to be coming in hot, and I think people should be really afraid of her. They should be really afraid of her because, like you said, Jill, the time away might have really helped her. She's been away for over 2 years now. Imagine all the studying that
Been
she probably
over
could be
2
doing.
years.
Yeah. Imagine all of the studying that she could be doing. And she's obviously been helping the GOAT train. That's a big deal too.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
I cannot wait for this one. I can't wait for her to for Chandru to just like try his games and her just be like, okay. Like it just like,
well, we kind of saw that in Spectacular too in the clip.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and I'm just saying she's just like this is the type, she's not the player that this is going to work on. Like it may work on most people, but all the nonsense or whatever, she's just going to be like, okay, and then just rack up points. And I'm curious to see if because of that it rattles Chandru. So that would be interesting to see, like the typical like Healy type thing actually gets the cage rattled a little bit when their stuff's not working. So I'm very excited to see this one.
What about you, Molly, being your faction mate?
Well, I won't give away any insider info, but I've seen Mara training a little bit, just a glimpse. I mean, like she's probably been training a lot over the past 2 years. But yeah, if I were Chandru, I would be very, very afraid. And I don't think ring rust is a thing for her because, like you said, she's been working with Dan this whole time. She knows this game. She's beaten some of the best in IG. And she just, her brain just like works differently than I think most people's brains, and she can just pull stuff like this. And I'm so excited to, once the live stuff is over on Friday, to go back and watch her match, because yeah, just her coming back into the league is really exciting.
I don't think she ever stopped really studying.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think she's the type of person that even when she's not flashcard studying, it's still being logged.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying.
It really is.
Yeah.
And well, and on the flip side, because we do have to talk about him as well, but Chandru is very similar, right?
Absolutely.
He is very much kind of that same approach that she had a few years ago when she was playing. I'm very interested in, and we always talk about, oh, the wheel's going to come into play. Like, of course it is. This is a 5-rounder, though. It's a little bit different. And we're getting brand new categories that we've never seen before in IG. How is that going to play into this? Because we don't know who's good at what in these brand new things. Like, you know, if it's the Planet of the Apes or the Back to the Futures or something random that was put together for a category in IG that we have never seen or thought of before. How is someone like Chandru going to handle it? How is someone like Mara going to handle it? And how are they going to play it against each other specifically? Like, say if someone lands on, if opponent's choice is on the wheel, which I don't know if it will be, how do they play that? Or like for the betting round, we've talked about it. It was one of Jill's questions for the rookies. If you're okay at the category, what do you do? Like, that's a big part of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Chandru has absolutely proven himself, and he has insane knowledge, I think, equal to maybe Mara. But yeah, I think it might come down to these new categories, and also whether or not the belt has gotten to his head. Like, he may be a little bit overconfident going into this match. So that could be something that could mess with his mind a little bit. But yeah, I think it's going to come down to these new categories and just the super deep dive IG level questions.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's going to be a specific thing. I think it's just going to be maybe a missed question.
Yeah, like one or two. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go out and say that they're gonna have like perfect games, but I don't think the wheel's gonna make a difference. I don't think betting round's gonna make a difference. I don't think speed round's gonna make a difference.
See, I will argue speed round because we haven't seen Mara in the new speed round.
I don't think that faces her.
And to be fair, Chandru murdered speed round at Spectacular.
Yeah, he did.
He was scary at Spectacular and speed round, but how are the questions different this time? That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's been training that new speed round. I can tell you guys, like, for sure. She knows it backwards and forwards. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I don't think it's just a matter of who slips, I think. And it's not even going to be like category. Oh, I got a crap category in round 2. It's just going to be who misses a question here and there. And that's going to be it.
I feel like this match, in terms of like what could happen, is going to be very comparable to like a Star Wars championship match, where if someone misses one question, it's like, ooh, that's potentially game over.
It's like the Ace Laura match in the tournament last year.
Yeah.
Where she missed that the first rounder
by 1 year.
That was the game.
And that was the game. I think this could very much be a very similar situation.
And I almost hope that it's not. I mean, this is just like the player in me coming out, but like people having perfect games should not happen as often as it does. Especially with Star Wars. I mean, all my love to the writers. You guys have heard me talk about how I just want harder questions, period. Because we've gotten so many perfect games, and I'm like, I would rather it not go perfect.
Yeah,
I end up in overtime. So
I agree with you. I do agree. And I think that's what's beneficial with these new wheel slices that we're getting with IG. I think that's really going to make the playing field a little bit more even, I guess, is a kind of a good word I'm looking for with that, because it makes it's different now, because there's all of these new things that are going to be potentially asked, which they haven't been studying for the past 3+ years. You know, it's a completely new territory. And
that's a good point. Like, how does it change the first round specifically? Because we know that in the past, the first round has always been set up like, you know, you get your Marvels, your MCUs, your DCs, your DCUs, your Star Wars, etc. Same thing with like singles and even Star Wars as well. How do they fluctuate? Because they have all these categories to choose from. Is it going to change every time? Is it going to be a set 10? Is it going to be a set 15 that they randomize? Like, what is the process of doing that? Yeah. And could a very surface level question of a franchise that someone may not know stump them to a point where it costs them the match in the very first round?
And I think there's potential for that in the new IG division because of what all of these potential new slices could potentially be. Like, it's going to be very interesting, and we all get to see how it plays out for this first championship match.
Yeah,
serious.
What a pay-per-view, man! I mean, goodness.
It's gonna be wild.
Make sure I've got my champagne for this one down here. Make sure I have champagne to deal with the craziness that's going to be the IG match.
I'm just happy that it's 3 women opening the season.
Is effing great. Like, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. 2 women for the very first number 1 contenders match for the Star Wars division. It's so exciing.
Let's keep that going, please. Let's keep that momentum, because I don't think we've had anything like that before, like really since the Shower Wolves have been playing, you know. So that in itself is like game changer for this season. So keep it coming.
We got a question here in the comments from the king himself, Jeffrey Kahn. Over under for challenges on Friday, 1.5. I'm gonna say
for the whole day.
Whole day. Yeah. Let's put it at the whole day.
I hope there's no challenges. Honestly.
I don't think there's going to be any in Star Wars. I think there will be one.
I think there'll be one in IG for sure.
I will say, if there is a challenge in Star Wars, it will be a challenge that both Molly and Laura would both agree with.
Yeah.
Like as in, like, yeah, like it wouldn't be like some petty challenge. It would be like, yeah, that's like a not canon.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, I'm back. There we go.
There you go.
It'll be like, I feel like if there is a challenge, I think it'll be maybe something like that where it's agree, but nothing petty. I don't think there's gonna be any petty dumb challenges. Am I just
hope not.
my internet's gonna
Sean, get off the internet.
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit, Jill. You're frozen at the moment, but that's okay.
and so my match with Adam Wood, I feel like has made everyone feel like Star Wars matches are just going to be full of challenges from now on. And I will say, like, none of those challenges were my decision. That was Sam being like, "Hey, I'm going to step in and I'm going to challenge this." And I was like, okay, fine, I guess. And like, I wasn't even thinking about challenges during that game, but I mean, there's always a chance that they will give you a Star Wars question that is like really iffy, and the only person that would know that it's really iffy are the competitors. And so then it's like, well, maybe they'll just throw the question out and give us a new one.
Would be one where it would be a question where they would just throw it out, if anything.
Yeah,
but
we'll see.
I don't think there's gonna be. If anything, that's what it would be. But I don't think there's going to be. I would be surprised if we see any challenges.
I mean, I have to think about Ace's challenge with his match against Alex about the hyperfuel and all that stuff being resources. Like, to me, knowing that whole text from that opening, I would say that challenge is obviously going to get thrown out.
Yeah.
But he was struggling. So I think if you're behind and you're struggling and you want to throw a Hail Mary challenge, I say go for it.
Oh, heck yeah. Because you never know, it could potentially.
PJ's cursing you out right now.
PJ's like, no, don't.
He's shaking his fist in the air at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I do want to bring up one comment. It's actually a kind of cool little stat here. This is the first time ever that a live event has been IG and Star Wars in one event, which is really cool.
That just goes to show you what the popular matches were last year, last season.
I'm sure we'll see a lot more of those with the class of players this year for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and shift gears here away from the pay-per-view. We're not going to be previewing all the matches that were announced over the last 2 weeks or so. We'll preview those in the shows leading up to those matches. That way we can kind of dive into them a little bit more rather than just firing off who we think is going to win and lose. So what we're going to do here is we're going to talk a little bit throughout the season. We're going to preview like the entire season and kind of give our idea of players that we think are going to stand out the most. And we're going to start with the most basic of questions here and just start with which player or players we think could really make an impact this year, could have a big season, a la what Jeff Snyder did last year of how well he played, the Chance Ellisons of how well he played last year, the Paul Oyama the year he won the belt. We're not picking people who could possibly win a belt, but people who we think could really get a number of wins, who may have been struggling last year or the year before, and really kind of make their stamp in the league in the Schmoedown. That's where we'll start, and we'll get into some other stuff later. But Brian, I'm going to start with you on this one. Do you have a name or two, or maybe even three people who you think that you could see?
You're going to make me say all of them at the same time?
No. Just if you have one main person, you're like, I could really see this person just succeeding and putting their foot in the game this year in 2021, winning a bunch of matches, maybe going far to tournament, or giving themselves a shot at the title. Who is the first person that comes to mind?
Well, I mean, I'm very excited about rookies this year.
That's the next question. So don't do anything.
I know I wasn't going to. So I'm very excited to see what comes out of that. As far as returning players, there are a few that I'm really excited to see because they really didn't get to kind of show themselves off last year, especially if they were an early round person in a tournament. So there are quite a few that I'm really excited to see. I'm very curious to see how James White is. I mean, he kind of got thrown around last year. He was on one team, then went to another, and then he goes up against Frank Moran and then Bibbs. So it's like, okay, well, that stinks. That's a rough go. I'm actually very excited to see Vinny. I think Vinny is going to be someone that is going to have a nice chance to kind of show us what he's got, and he did good last year too. And I think that he's going to be someone that I'm kind of excited to see. And I'm actually really excited to see Sabrina play too. I think her on the Mercs is a very fun, good fit for her. So those are, I mean, I don't want to say literally all of them because we're all going to say a bunch of people, but just off the top of my head, those are some that I'm actually really excited to see. I kind of went more for ones that we didn't get to see very much of last year.
That's fair.
Because there were a lot of personalities that, I mean, I got to know through social media and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I really want to see them play. And they only got a match because they got stuck up against a Bibbs or, I mean, Sabrina and Vinny played against each other. So so that automatically took one of them out. So it's funny because they're kind of like almost like the rookies from last year that didn't really get a shot. Those are probably the returning people that I'm kind of looking forward to the most this year and seeing what happens from them. Because, I mean, they didn't really get their full shot at a season because of COVID, obviously. So just a couple of names. Those ones definitely popped to my head.
Jill, what about you?
Obviously, Sean Sullivan is going to be making waves this season. Let's be real. That's not even me just being biased. He got kicked out of the tournament last year because he missed 2 questions. Like 2. I think people need to be watching out for Sean. We all saw him on the LGR interview. He's got fire in him, man. He's ready to kick butt and take names. You know, he's prepping for his announced match March 4th. So we're studying for that right now. But he's definitely someone I think that's going to be making waves this season. And I've said this before. The person who I think is going to be comeback player of the year this season is Paul Preston. Paul Preston, in my opinion, is one of those players that just had a bad. He just had bad luck last season. He really didn't have any. Well, he got TKO'd, but but still, like, he's one of those players where it's just he just got unlucky. But he has the knowledge and he has the gameplay and that to really take it to that next level. And I think Paul Preston's really going to do that this season. I wouldn't consider her a comeback player, but because she killed it last season. But Liz Shannon Miller would not at all be surprised if we see her with a belt this year. Would not at all be surprised if we see her with a belt.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Molly, what about you?
I was also going to talk about Liz Shannon Miller, even though she did do so well in the tournament. Like, I think she's only going to get better. And now that she's on the Suspects, I think that's a great place for her. She, might team up with Ethan. I think she is going to be a big force to be reckoned with this season. I'm looking through names right now. Paul Preston was another one that I had that I was thinking is going to do amazing things this year. Jen Kemp.
Yes.
I really see her.
A lot of people are high on her.
I see her doing so well.
We're sleeping on Jen.
Yeah. I feel like every match I watched of hers, including the one of her against Alex, she would just get like one or two questions that were like confusing or just like weird questions that may have, I don't know, slowed her down a little bit. But I think she's going to come in this year with some fire.
She crushed Star Trek, and who crushes Star Trek? Like
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Nerds.
Nerd.
Smart.
the absolute nerds of nerds. Yes.
And I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to stay away from my own faction, but I will say one Whitney Seibold.
Ooh,
Yes.
Yeah, finally.
He could finally be in a spot where he thrives, and he's had such bad luck.
Yes.
Such bad luck.
And
That's the thing.
I'll add another one to your faction who I believe Rachel mentioned in the chat, Robert Parker.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Sorry. I'll let you talk.
Okay,
more about
go
Robert.
ahead. Talk about Robert Parker.
But, I mean, Robert was a quote unquote the golden child of last season. Like he was
He's a precious little baby.
Sets, he was Kaiser's first pick, and luck just wasn't on his side in that IG tournament. But we all saw his first match.
Yeah.
But all people remember is the fact that he got kicked out of the IG tournament, and I think that's going to change this season. I will say that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree about Parker. For sure.
Yeah, Parker's going to be scary to look out for.
Mhm.
He because as of right now, I mean, obviously Mara's going for the IG belt, but Parker was one of the kept three, and he was the lead kept three for the dungeon. He was the only returning player for the dungeon out of those three, side by side with Ben Bateman and Dan Murrell, which is crazy. And yeah, I think that he is. I mean, he's had what the IG tournament was like last August, somewhere around there, September. He got knocked out in the second round, and he's had all that time to study.
And I know Robert. He did not stop studying.
Yeah, and he's a single division guy, very much like a lot of the Star Wars people are, and you know, he doesn't have to worry about the dramas or the directors or stuff. He's worrying about Lord of the Rings. He's worrying about Planet of the Apes and all these.
I don't think he's worrying about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
That's fair, but I'm sure they're going
to. I think that's one he's not worried about.
I'm sure
only if he plays Alex.
Yeah,
if he plays against Alex, then he needs to worry about some Lord of the Rings.
I'm sure that they're going to want to, or they're probably going to try to throw him some curveballs in Lord of the Rings just because of the way that he performed in the.
If they have any other questions left to ask,
true. That's very true.
I think maybe once I win the Star Wars belt, maybe Alex will have a fire lit under him for IG.
Maybe
he might just want to move on.
This heel Molly's starting to come out, man.
That's not full heel, halfway heel. Hashtag halfway heel.
2 belts in the Damon household.
Ooh.
People would just despise that so much because it's gonna have to. They're gonna have to ship them all the way to Atlanta. They're gonna have to keep them on the other side of the country.
I will gladly take them. I will throw them in a suitcase and I will deliver them myself. I'll be like, here you go.
I mean, it's either we end up with 2 belts or Dan and Mara end up with 2 belts.
Yeah,
and they're not that
either
far
way,
away.
the dungeon wins.
And they're not that far away.
If you have 2 belts, your Grogu's gonna need a little belt after.
Yeah, I'll
you saw that little belt in the reaction we did. Where's that little belt?
I know, where's that little tiny belt?
Where's that little tiny belt we did in the reaction? So since Parker was mentioned, and I was going to bring up Liz Shannon Miller as well, but I wanted to bring up Brennan the Kid Meyer. I think that he, over the last few years, ever since he got KO'd by Ben Bateman in the singles tournament, he has slowly become like this force to be reckoned with in the league in general. Obviously, he's paired with Bibiani, and Shazam is a massive team inside the team's division. We won't see that for a little while, but let's not forget that there's 2 people that took took Adam Collins to the break or the brink of losing last year. Dan Murrell did it spectacular in overtime, and Brennan the Kid Meyer did it in overtime in the tournament. We were 1 or 2 questions away from Adam Collins not being the champion last year because of the kid. He's literally just right there every single time. I do see him getting to a point where he either gets a number one contender shot or he gets that title shot up against whether it's Adam Collins or whoever has the belt at that time. I'm thinking Adam Collins because it would be a really cool story to kind of have them face each other again after the match they had. But I would see him kind of. I feel like he's there. He's finally there after being kind of like this young blood in the league for a little while, learning under Bibiani. You know that's a big thing, obviously. And then the other
comes down to his Canadian internet.
Oh,
I'm sure it's up for this season. I'm sure Christian was like, "You better get your, internet going. Otherwise, I'm not going to let you play in this league anymore." But the other person I wanted to bring up is someone who's returning, very similar to Mara, but that is Drew McWeeny. I was a big fan of Drew McWeeny when he first came into the league. He was touted. I mean, his nickname is the Godfather. He was touted as like the next big thing. I don't know what he's going to be like, obviously, but it seems after the free agency special that he is very much just honed in on almost like a revenge tour in a way. He called out Ben Bateman, right? He's coming for Bateman. He's coming for the belt. He has his former teammate as his manager now, which is a big deal. He's playing alongside people like Ethan and Liz Shannon Miller, which is huge. And so I have a feeling that he could make a big, giant impact on what the singles division is like this year. It's going to be very interesting. If he's like old Drew McWeeny, he'll be 50-50 where it's off and on. But I have a feeling he might put it all together this year. And again, that's me saying that without seeing him in the last couple of years or last year, because I think it was early last year he retired.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But again, that's a year full of studying for him. And he's an actual reporter. He's a writer for film. And so that's a big deal. We saw it with Jeff Snyder last year. He could do it again. I mean, someone can do it again last year. He can be the Snyder of this year. Who knows? It'll be very interesting to see. And I know a lot of people are talking about someone like Ben Goddard in the chat and Video Drew. There's some other names being thrown around. There's definitely there's a lot of people that we could see make a big impact, but the ones we mentioned are kind of the biggest. So let's go ahead and move a shift a little bit and move on to the rookie side of this. We got the chance to talk to a lot of them on the channel with a lot of interviews. We chatted with 30 rookies or something like that. A lot of them. And so we have a good idea of who we could possibly see making or just playing well throughout the season, kind of having the best year. And the question I posed to you guys was, which rookie do you see having the best year in 2021? And it could be someone in Star Wars, IG, singles. It can be any of them. Molly, I'll go back to you on this one. Which rookie is kind of like the big highlight to you out of this entire class?
I mean, I hate to sound biased once again, but it's going to be one of the DragonCon players, and it's going to be my friend Zach Burkett.
Yeah.
He is scary. He's just got, like I keep talking about, he's got one of those brains. Everything sticks. And he's actually been watching the Schmoedown for a little while. Like he's been hearing me talk about the Schmoedown for forever. Yeah, it's just he's gonna blow through a tournament. I mean, unless he comes up to me.
Phew.
But all the DragonCon rookies, I'm so excited to see them play in the Schmoedown. But I
love him.
I am especially excited for Mr. Zach Burkett. If I had to pick one.
Yeah, Zach was on my mind too, and the reason why he's on my mind so much is I know he's Star Wars, but the dude can play in 4 divisions. Literally play in 4 divisions on top of playing something like a horror free for all.
Oh, horror free for all?
Like 5 in a way, so it's like
I hope he gets into the horror free for all. Like,
dude, he's probably more excited to study for a horror tournament than anything else because he's like
different. Like
he's like, oh, I have to watch more horror movies. Oh no,
no,
it's like his second favorite thing in the world. But yeah, I can't wait to see what he does in this tournament.
So since I mean, I'm not calling it a biased decision, but maybe it can come off as a biased decision. Do you have another rookie?
Can we say more than one?
Yeah.
That's fine. I know we all love the rookies, but I want
we each said 3 for the last one. Can we at least do 3?
I'll give you 2.
I might cheat. I'm gonna
my other rookie.
You guys suck.
My other rookie pick is Paige.
Yeah, Paige for Betty. I really like her as a
the
character.
Boston badass.
Yeah.
Boston badass.
Yeah,
Love
I can't
drafted
wait to see her
for a
character.
reason.
Oh,
Give me that shirt and I will buy it immediately.
Yeah.
I think she's got the
Immediately.
fire. I think she's got the drive. I think she's got the knowledge. Yeah, I'm
That
excited.
attitude that I'm like, more of that, please.
Yeah, she's ready to play a character. I'm excited for her.
hmm
Brian, I'll go right back to you.
I'm actually very curious Zach is definitely, I'm going to try to pick people that aren't mentioned, but Zach is definitely one of mine. I agree with that, Rachel. I'm actually very curious about a few people, but since Jake's being a jerk and only letting us pick two, I'm trying to. Okay, so I have that as one of
Brian,
mine.
just reveal your pick.
I literally just told you and you interrupted.
Oh,
me.
Mario's one? Okay.
Yeah. He is one of mine. And it sucks because probably out of IG, the two I'm most excited about is Jesse and Amaru. And they're playing each other in the beginning. Yeah. And I'm like,
yeah, they're the first official match of like the season. Like the pay-per-views are obviously happening, but they're the actual first official match that's released for season 8.
Wow.
Yeah. And like those were probably my two IG rookies that I was looking forward to the most. And then they put against each other. And I'm like, well, great. I don't know. I'm not rooting for a single person in that one. I hope they both do well. So I don't know how to pick that one. And then I'm actually very curious about Jacob Blunden.
Yeah.
I love
a former Fan League champ.
I am.
Corruption's the only rookie.
Yeah, I don't know which ones are from fan leagues and which ones aren't, but like the fan leaguers, they know their stuff.
Yep.
We all know I love a good accent, and his is the best kind, which is Australian. Sorry, Reefton.
Reefton, I love you.
We'll get messages from Reefton later. What the heck?
What's your accent, Reefton?
Yeah.
He's gonna hate us.
I know. There's always a special place in my heart for Reefton. But yeah, I mean, a fan league champion, that alone, you've got my interest. Put him on corruption. Now you've piqued my interest heavily. So not just because that's one of my favorite factions, the teamwork and the building that corruption does with their players is very scary. So putting those two together, I'm like, okay, now you really have my attention with putting all the kind of combos that make a good player. So I have my eye on that one. So yeah, I technically said 3, but.
All right, Jill, you can cheat your way through this question. What do you got?
So I'm going to cheat. My first is going to be a collective, and they are commonly known as the Fan League 4.
Ah! Back to back, you're doing it to me, man.
Sorry. So I'm going to consider that one of mine.
I was only going to mention one, but that's fine.
In general. There's a reason why they're called the Fan League 4. You know, they have their own little name for each other. So that
I need Brian Ward to use the Fantastic Four F and make them some type of
a Fan League 4 thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that they're all on different factions.
I know, but I still need it.
They can have the thing. But Fan League 4, I'm very interested in.
That's a great point too. Real quick, Jill, they have Zach, Christina, and Jacoby.
Yeah.
Is Peggy's the only one that's not in the stars, correct?
No, Amaru's on the suspects. Peggy's on the den.
Peggy's on the den. Okay.
And Amaru's on the suspects.
Amaru was Sam's first pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. My first pick is 4 people. So I said I was going to cheat.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm also just because this kid is a complete mystery to me, and I'm very intrigued with that, is Brother Lomas. Like, because we don't know anything about him. Like, anything.
There we go.
Don't call me out like that.
Come on, Brian, make it happen.
So, Brother Lomas, I'm very interested in, just because we don't know anything about him other than the fact that Christian has, like, praised his graces, and he's also done some back and forth with Sean, because the saint and the brother thing, it works.
It works.
It works. And then also, I put him on my draft board. I have had people message me directly praising this kid as the next big thing, and that's Jeffrey Kahn.
The king.
The king. Jeffrey Kahn.
The king.
So very, very, very interested to see what he can do.
If there's one person that makes me cheer for the Finstock Exchange, it's gonna be that
Jeff.
man right there.
It's the King Con. So
Yep.
yeah, and that's not to dismiss any of the other rookies. Like we have a bunch of rookies this season for a freaking reason.
Oh.
You know,
I forgot everybody has access.
I didn't touch it. That wasn't me.
That was me.
But we have so many rookies this season for a reason. You know, like they're not just on here for just funs and giggles. You know, they're here to play the game. So it's true. It's true.
Honestly, like I'm so excited for every single. There's literally not a rookie that I'm not excited
Me
to
neither.
watch compete this year.
Because I think they're all straight white hot fire.
Yes.
Like
yes.
they're all gonna.
They're also all massive nerds.
They
Well.
have all watched the Schmoedown and said, I want to get into that nonsense. So like that right there, like kudos to y'all, because I'm like, I get 2 points a freaking match, and all these rookies just
Yeah, if I get double digits in a singles match, I'm like,
it's like
give me the belt.
let's go. I'm signing up for the singles division. We're in.
Make me a special belt.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Molly
that little
got 10
teeny one.
points. Yay!
Singles minor league right here.
I'll give you like a Dragon Con trophy. It'll be a printed piece of
A
paper.
piece of paper.
that said Molly Damon got 10 points in a singles tournament. And
Is it at least like hardy stock paper? Or is it just
it'll
white?
be. I'll
Okay.
do you one better. I will laminate it.
Mm. Well, then it'll last forever if it's laminated. Yeah.
All right, so since everybody kind of just went off the rails and picked however many they wanted to, I'm gonna.
Technically, I picked 3.
I picked 3, but I can't keep going.
Joe, you
There's
picked 6.
It
Technically,
was the Family Four is a collective. Okay.
You picked 6.
I mean, I could keep going. I
So
have a lot.
the one that I do want to bring up, because I'm very interested in this idea of changing the way that the game is looked at, and that is Felix Morit with Schmoedown.
That's because you're an Ace fan.
So so we talked to 2 people who had an incredible outlook on their perceptive of the Schmoedown. One of them was Felix, and he talked about Schmoedown. One of them, unfortunately, wasn't drafted, and that was Ross Arsenault, and he talked about basically the mathematics side of Schmoedown. And Felix is very much bringing this different style of play, because he's trying. He's essentially calculating what's happening is what he's doing, and he's thinking of it ahead of time and going in to a match not prepped just study wise, but also very. I don't know. There's not really. I don't know really a word for it. Just prepped in a way that isn't just studying. He's looking at the analytics side of it. He's looking at what's spun more, what's spun less. What are the chances of a question being at this point compared to this point? It's very scientific compared to a lot of people, and I'm extremely interested in seeing how that plays into movie trivia, because those 2 things you wouldn't think coincide, but they could be a match made in heaven. I don't know. We'll see. But I am also interested in someone who's been brought up a lot recently, especially here on this channel on Friday's fantasy draft, but this Griffin Newman character.
Yeah.
Who is he?
Who is Griffin Newman?
Is he on the exchange too?
He's on the exchange, but he was their first pick in rounds 1 of the draft.
That's right.
First pick.
Why
Does he have a match?
Why did they draft him at high? Like, what is it? He's a singles player, but apparently he is someone who can probably play all 4 divisions from what they've been saying. I know nothing about the guy, and look, we talk about the exchange at a certain level of just stuff with Finstock and Roka and all these people that are in this faction, but
you can't
statistics on your faction mates. We need to know.
But you can't mention them without smiling or honestly, smirking, I should say.
But at a realistic look at it, Finstock has won Managers of the Year, right? He's won a lot of it. He's had champions in his stable before. He has Roka at the lead. He has Barbarian, who we've heard about this whole dossier thing.
Oh yeah, hashtag release the dossier.
Hashtag release.
Who cares about the Snyder Cut? I want to see the dossier.
Yeah, like there's just
Molly. No, don't say that. They'll come for you.
I don't care. They come for me anyways.
I'm extremely interested in what the reason was that they picked him the first round of the draft, where they probably could have gotten him in either a round or two later. And there were vets on top of vets at that point, because the exchange had like the 5th or 6th pick of the entire draft, and they went with Griffin Newman. So it intrigues me. Like this guy intrigues me, even though I know nothing about him. Like,
who are you, Griffin Newman?
I mean, he could come on the show.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Shout him out, guys. Let him know that we want to know who Griffin Newman is.
Yo,
tell us who you are and why you're
first draft pick.
All right, we have 2 super chats that have come in real quick. I want to get to them. Mr. Tim Sim has got both of them here. And the first one, he says, 35 rookies that will change the complexion of the Schmoedown as we know it. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a lot of people. 35 of 96. 35 competitors and 96 are rookies.
1/3 is rookies.
And then his next one here says, imagine Roxy using Felix's analytics for the entire faction. I mean, Snyder's a sports guy. She's got, I know Alex isn't, but
I mean, video gaming is a sport now, so
yeah.
She's got the Barstool guys who are obviously sports guys. Brandon, Hannah, Janine. I mean, they're all people. I mean, imagine analytics being put to those kind of competitors. It could be scary.
Yeah. I think Brandon Hannah's gonna do really well too this year.
I think so too.
I just realized what he meant by Snyder Cut, because
he spelled it. Yeah.
I was like, he spelled that wrong. And I was like, oh wait, no, he did it.
All right, let's shift to the team side of this now and talk about the factions. We've talked about factions in the past, but let's make our picks going into the season. Which faction/factions? And I'm only giving you guys 2 on this one. Molly only gets 1 because she's biased to 1, obviously. So okay, Jill. Yes, you only get 1 as well.
How about you make them just pick 2 that aren't theirs?
That's fair.
We could do that. We could pick.
Yeah, okay. Jill, you pick 2 that aren't corruption. Molly, you pick 2 that aren't dungeon. And so Brian, I'll start with you on this one and let them think.
No.
No.
Why?
Well, I have to.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna pick the factions that we think are gonna have the best shot at competing for the faction title at the end of the year.
We're picking factions, not teams.
Yeah,
correct.
So factions,
Okay.
whole factions. The faction that we think is going to be there at the very end, competing, and it's spectacular. Very a la Corruption and Swag, where they were battling until the very last match, essentially, even though it went first. That kind of like, which 2 or 3 factions do we see being there at the very end of the season, competing for the overall point standing? Brian, you start us off.
Definitely going to say Corruption, for the pure fact of their team is almost exactly the same.
At least their front. Their front 4 is scary.
Yeah. So like that alone like makes you kind of go, well, they won the championship and their team's almost the same. So it'd be kind of stupid in a way to not say that. Definitely the dungeon. I mean, the dungeon is stacked, to say the least. Very stacked. I'm going to pick one that is not so, because I will say those 2 are very, I don't want to say very, but they're lower on the end of new competitors. So I don't. It almost kind of seems unfair to pick the ones you're familiar with. I will say the stars look really good when you start looking at it. Like they've got some faces that you're like, oh boy, that could be interesting. Especially with their rookies. Their rookies are very interesting. I'm going to say those three. Those will be the three that I say.
Jill, I'll go you next.
So obviously, other than corruption, because I can't pick them, I'm gonna go with the dungeon, and
we're all gonna pick the dungeon. So let's keep the dungeon out of it.
Okay, we'll skip the dungeon. Okay, we'll all pick the dungeon. I agree with. I think Belfort said it. I think the den is the dark horse this season. I think people are overlooking the den. I think they have a real shot of getting up to top faction standings this season. I could also even argue usual suspects. Like, do you look at that top three? You see that top three they have on usual suspects? Like, that's scary. I'm gonna be completely 100% honest. I like looking at the draft of all of these factions. I really don't. I guess you could argue maybe the Finstock Exchange because they are all rookies, but we also don't know who these rookies are. Every single one of them could be the next Adam Collins. We don't know. We've never seen them. So I think all the factions across the board, draft-wise, are pretty freaking even. Personally.
Here's my thing.
Hey, Thomas.
Yeah. Here's my thing with the den and who was it? I lost my suspects. To me, they're like the biggest question marks. Oh, excuse me. Not the suspects. Finstock Exchange. They have probably arguably the most rookies on both. So like to me, it's just kind of like I don't know what they're capable of. There's some faces I don't even know if they were to be like, which one of these is not a Schmoedown competitor? I'd be like, I don't know. So like until I start seeing like faces and hearing more, because we only interviewed like half the rookies. There's still a lot of people that we haven't even talked to. So I mean, it's hard for me to pick the Den and Finstock just because I don't know very many people yet, but that could be an advantage to them.
Yeah.
So
like I said, they could have a whole freaking team with Adam Collins. We don't know.
Exactly.
You know, it's statistically, is that possible? Probably not. But I mean, they could all still be A/B players, you know. So it's gonna be interesting.
Molly, what about you?
This is hard. Because like I keep looking back and forth at all their rosters, and I'm like, well, this one's good. A little bit. This faction has this person. I do agree that corruption has a lot of the same people. That's probably going to give them a slight edge. The stars have a lot of really good people, but I think swag could be really sneaky with this.
I mean, they have, and obviously we know what's going to happen on Friday. Like Molly's going to win, but they have Laura and Ace.
Yeah, they have Laura and Ace, which in a tournament they'll destroy Oyama and Harris, Jen Kemp, like I said earlier, Vinny.
Yep.
They're going to be kind of the sneaky team that might take a lead. I could definitely see that happening. But with all, like we said, with all the rookies in play, it's anyone's game, really.
So I gotta talk about my mercs because I really like what Koi did during the draft.
Excuse me.
I am a shill. You know what? I'm a Koi shill, so whatever. But look, they have Shazam at the top, and I know that teams isn't starting halfway through the year, but both Bibbs and Brendan are extremely good at singles. Okay, there's a lot of teams out there that can play good as teams but can't play good as singles. They can do both. And then he was able to grab someone like Demolanta for Star Wars, which could be a big deal. Right now, Demolanta has a shot at least a triple threat / title, whatever it may be, and that could be big. I really like the addition of Eric Whiteley for Star Wars and possibly IG. We've heard that he can be very good at IG as well. That's a big deal. Jessie Swift as a rookie. Perry, I think, is a steal at the point that they got her in the 7th round. She did very well last year. She obviously upset Kaunowski in the singles tournament. And we've also heard a lot about Beth May. Like, nobody's really been talking about Beth May, but she was like the person at the very beginning of all the announcements.
Add her to my rookies to watch list.
Yeah, like a lot of when all the announcements were being made about people inside the draft, she was the very first person announced. And that says a lot. So I will definitely say the Mercs, and I know we talked about swag a little bit, but I also really like what Roxy did in the draft.
Yeah.
Personally, I really liked what she did. Let's keep in mind that last year she essentially got 3rd place with 3 players.
Yeah.
I know that Teams again isn't starting halfway through the year, but if Snyder's able to keep up what he did last year in singles, that's a big deal. If Andreyko can be there in singles just to get a little points, that's a big deal. Obviously, Alex has the title. We talked about Zach already and his capability. Brandon Hanna on a different faction could be a big deal for him. He could be a completely different player. Janine, we talked about Jacoby Bancroft, Felix Moritz, Christina. I mean, there's a lot of good bones there for that team compared to what she had last year. The biggest problem she had is she didn't have depth. She did not have depth.
Yeah.
And now she has depth. She has players who are going to be there all year long and competing for at least points. And when Teams does come back, she currently has 2 of the 4 belts. Excuse me. 2 of the 3 belts are 2 of the 4 belts. Excuse me. 2 of the 4 belts are 100 faction Teams and Star Wars. By the time Teams come around, that'll probably be the same. Those matches are worth a lot of points. They're worth a ton of points. And if you keep belts, that's a big deal in the points. She could shoot up the board very quickly. Very quickly. So as much as I don't like it, because I also like to kind of hate on Roxy sometimes, I think the stars are very, very good. I think they're very good.
Oh, yeah.
I've never once heard you hate on Roxy.
I know.
They've got some heavy hitters, man.
Really?
It's crazy.
Interesting. That choice of words. Yeah, I'm just curious because it's hard to call because there's so many people you just don't know anything about. Like, I mean,
Jake.
What?
Just I think kayfabe happened.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I think I'm just most excited because there's so much unknown. And that makes it that much more interesting because you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, you have... I'm so excited for the Star Wars division this year. Like, it's probably my number one that I'm looking forward to the most this year.
I think everybody should have it as their number one.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
It'll be the most competitive for sure.
Oh, that's for damn sure.
I'm just so excited for how...
You know what's funny about this? And I don't mean to cut you off, Brian, but out of all the conversations we've had tonight, we have yet to mention the number 2 pick overall. Or number 3 pick overall, excuse me, in Thomas Harper.
Thomas. I mean, he's...
That
obviously,
guy,
he's
that's
going to do
my Y-Wing
well.
brother right there.
I've seen him destroy a Dragon Con. Obviously, he's going to do well. I
picked the Den.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
The only reason I picked Zach over him is because I think Zach could also do well in IG and something like the horror tournament, maybe even singles. You know, if he puts his mind to it, he is overall just a huge movie nerd. But absolutely, Thomas is going to do very well in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Brian Bailey, don't push him. Don't push him. We did get a Streamlabs while we were talking there. I do want to make sure I get to this. So about 12 minutes ago, from Will Watson, from the great Will Watson.
Will.
He had said, just wanted to send in a grateful Streamlab to the View crew as the season kicks off, and I just have one thing to say: the dungeon will be champions.
Ooh. Calling it now.
Will's been helping me study. He's been quizzing me on Star Wars, and
Nice.
Lighting a fire under my butt.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, to wrap up tonight's show, does anybody have any thoughts on what we can expect for season 8? Players, teams, factions, managers,
Other than war,
Chaos.
other than war and chaos and all that good stuff.
I think we're gonna see a lot of surprises with all these rookies.
I do too.
I concur. Can I also just say I'm excited for the rookie v rookie reactions we're gonna have? It's like, who are you going for? I don't know.
First, yeah, I mean that's a good little segue. Thanks, Jill. So for all of you who may have found us during the off season, before last or after last season, we do match day reactions to all of the matches. There's obviously gonna be a lot. We don't do pay-per-view stuff because we want to make sure that we're watching it live and hanging out and stuff like that. But all the matches that are released on the YouTube channel as premieres, we do reactions 6 o'clock our time here on the channel. So right now, and you'll see us Wednesday, Thursday, Friday doing reactions. It'll probably be a mix of us depending on if all of us can make it. But come hang out, see if you can hang along with the crew and the players. But yeah, like Jill said, there's going to be a lot of, I don't know who's going to win.
We're going to have a good time. That's what matters.
I know. I mean, like I said, two of the people I was looking forward to in IG are playing each other, and I'm like, I hope someone wins. Like that's about as I'm not picking. I have no idea. So, yeah. This is gonna be. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of that this year.
Yep.
So, Chuck, Jake doesn't always get 27 points. He came last in our last little thing. Just throwing that out there.
And Chuck, you're also wrong. It was actually 17, not 27.
So, just saying.
I think that this season is going to be, even though last season was great, I think that this is really going to be like what the Schmoedown is this year. Like it's going to really define itself this year because we have more depth in players and divisions. Like each division is running strongly. Like last year, we had 8 Star Wars players. They played the tournament. It was great. But now like each division is at full strength and we have champions with the belts and people competing for the belts right away. And even though teams isn't going until halfway through the year, keep in mind last year they only played about halfway through the year anyway. So it's very similar. I really do think that this is going to be like, if we're to look back 10 years from now or 10 years and be like, what was the great year of Schmoedown? Like when did it really become itself? I feel like this year might be that year because everything is just a full go. Everything is just a full go.
What's the first belt to fall?
IG.
So, and we don't know when the single belt is coming, but I mean, we can make our predictions now because we're not going to be on the rest of the week. But I'm taking Mara in that match.
Oh, Mara.
Yeah,
Mara
absolutely.
for sure in that match.
It's the M's for me, Molly and Mara.
The M's. It's an M party. It's a dungeon fest.
I'm calling it dungeon sweep.
And here's the crazy thing too. Dungeon they could walk away with around 12 points on Friday if they win both matches. Same thing for Swag. They can walk away with over 10 points if they win both matches. Yeah, either faction.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Don't jinx it. But also, yes, root for me.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of POV. To everyone who's been watching, or if you made this your first time, we usually do this show on Sunday. So you'll check us out next Sunday for the main show as we recap everything that happened on the pay-per-view. You also might see our faces on Friday night if we decide to do something after Molly's match. Who knows? We'll see. But until then...
actually, wait, one last thing. No, they're not going to see you until your birthday.
Birthday!
No, they'll see me Friday.
We're not. Okay, whatever. I thought
no, not just.
No, I'm talking about people watching.
Oh,
they're not going to see you.
They'll see me Sunday.
Okay.
Is your birthday Sunday?
Oh, my birthday's Monday.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they'll see me before my birthday.
Brian just wanted to shout out when Jake's birthday is.
I just wanted to make him mad because he hates his birthday. So yeah, 100%.
I'm chill. Okay. We'll see how I feel on Sunday, but I'm chill. All right. But before we get out of here, Molly, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me nowhere because I am studying.
Leave me alone.
No, just kidding. I don't need to study. Studying's for losers.
Nerds.
Kidding. Also kidding. Everyone should study. At Molly Damon on Twitter and Twitch, which maybe I'll get back on Twitch whenever I'm not studying Star Wars.
That'll be a couple months.
Yeah. And me and Alex are over on Star Wars Explained all the time, every day. You're probably sick of us talking about Star Wars by now.
Never.
No, because you talk about Marvel now too.
That's true. You can also find us on Twitch every Friday for the next foreseeable future. We're talking about WandaVision, talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier when that comes out on our new show called Explain It to Me.
Jake, they're just stealing our shtick.
You know what? Hey, they get more views than us, so it's like, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do?
But yeah, that's over on Alex's Twitch, twitch.tv/AlexDamonLive.
Brian.
Be a Volcino on Twitter and this place.
Jill.
Jill and Marie, Twitter and Instagram, 2 Y's, 2 E's. Also, possibly gonna do a stereo with Sean once we're done burying our heads in Star Wars for the next couple weeks. So we'll see if you do that. If you do, you'll find out on my Twitter. So follow it. It's a fun time.
At Qui-Gon Jake all over the socials, 2 N's because someone else took it before I did. Here every week, and Apocalypse Movies because Brian did forget to say that.
No, I left it for you, so we weren't repeating the same thing.
We're over there. Dude, the more it's out there, the more people are going to see it, Brian. Maybe they weren't listening when
okay, fine. Apocalypse Movies.
Apocalypse Movies weekly. Do a weekly show. Also do Marvel recaps, even though Molly and Alex took it from us, but that's okay. Also, Schmoedown POV on Twitter, right above Jill. Streamlabs for any questions, comments. Also, guys, if you missed it, we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And you can also send in your super chats with questions and stuff like that if you would like to. And then if you want more POV content, which includes watch-alongs and after show hangouts, more reactions, stuff that has to do with happy hour. If you want to be involved in happy hour, hit that Patreon link. You guys can check out a tier of what interests you the most. And
wait till you guys find out the next stream.
Our next happy hour is going to be great. Also, the next watch along will probably be a lot of fun. So look out for that. And I think that is everything. We will be back later this week after the pay-per-view. And we'll be officially a go on season 8, guys. So again, to everyone watching, thank you guys so much. For Molly, Brian, Jill, and myself, we are POV. Thank you to our mods. Thank you to the View crew. And thank you for everyone watching. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.